Hi, my name's Gary White. I'm bringing to you my presentation for Module 5, Technology and how I've used it in Rolla High School, specifically in personal finance. So I chose to use technology in my investment unit in personal finance. And the thing I wanted to accomplish was try to improve engagement of students during that time. So there's four specific things that I use technology for during this unit. The first is to help students who are connecting remotely with my classroom. Second is to help manage student engagement both in the classroom and remotely, based on what students were doing on their devices during class time. Next, I wanted to improve engagement with the key terms for the unit. I found that how students engage with the key terms and how successful they are at remembering and applying those key terms helps them with learning the content. And then also creating a project for application for students, specifically with investment, that they can use in order to apply the knowledge that they gain over the unit. So connecting with remote students. So at Rolla, at the beginning of the year, we went back to in-person. We've had some exceptions through the year for quarantining and for students who have been sick with COVID-19. Fortunately, we have not had to go to a full remote schedule. We've been in person with a few students here and there coming in and out for quarantine. So at the beginning of the year, not knowing for sure that we'd be in person as we have been all year so far, I set up a Zoom meeting for each and every one of my classes. So there's been a Zoom meeting set up from the very first day of class, covered with students how to access that. And I've used that during this personal finance investment unit in order to connect with a student who was remote during that time so that they could stay connected with the content and continue to make progress even though they were quarantined. So Zoom is great because it helps me be able to still maintain a visual connection with the students. I still prefer for them to be in class, but if they're going to be away, this is a step better than the alternatives. And then also it gives me the opportunity with the chat feature to address some things directly with that student without having to interrupt the rest of the class by doing it vocally. It also gives me an opportunity to drop links to files that we're working on in class into the Zoom meeting so that that particular student is able to access them and be able to stay up to speed with the things we were doing in class. And then the other element that Zoom offers is being able to share the screen with students so that they can still see the presented content and stay engaged with the class. So the next tool, technology tool that I've used during the unit was GoGuardian. So GoGuardian is, ironically enough, essentially spyware. GoGuardian is used I used it for classroom management. So GoGuardian is a software that allows me as the teacher to be able to see what is happening on the screens of students that are in my classroom or connected remotely to my classroom. So we're one-to-one with Chromebooks at Rolla High School, and so while students are using their Chromebooks, both in class and, like I said, remotely, GoGuardian gives me the opportunity to see what's on the student's screen and that helps me just to validate that the student is remaining engaged with the class, which is incredibly helpful. GoGuardian allows me to see what tabs a student has open on their device. So you can see in the picture off there to the right, there is an individual window for each student that's a part of the classroom that's set up. And at the very bottom of that window, there's a gray stripe, and each one of the icons there represents a tab, an internet tab that's open on the student's device. So I have the ability through GoGuardian as a teacher to not only see tabs that students have open, but I also have the ability to close tabs that are open that might not be appropriate for a student to have open during the classroom time. GoGuardian also gives me the opportunity to use a chat feature. So if for some reason we lose Zoom connectivity, and that happened from time to time, it actually happened during this unit, even though Zoom disconnected, I could still use the chat feature in GoGuardian in order to communicate with the student who lost connectivity, confirm that they're still engaged, remind them to try again with connecting to the Zoom classroom so that we can get them reconnected to the things happening in the classroom environment. So a good way to be able to work with students and make sure that they're staying engaged. One of the other things I wanted to share with you is GoGuardian also gives you, the teacher, an ability to set scenes. So when you set a scene, those scenes allow you to limit the sites that a student can browse to during the time that they're within your class. And then GoGuardian also gives you the opportunity to present directly to students' devices. So if you wanted to be able to, rather than present information on a shared screen in a classroom, you could present it to their individual devices as well. At the end of each of the classes that you set up, GoGuardian provides you with a class usage report. This is helpful just to look back at and make sure that students were truly staying engaged with what you're working on in class. One of the other tools that I used during the investment unit for personal finance was to help with engagement on key terms. So as I've grown over the course of the semester in teaching, I started with just that sort of lecture approach to key terms where I explain what each of them is. And over this course of the semester, I've grown to developing a slide presentation that gives both a visual and a definition of what that key term. And during this unit, chose to add another element, which is a little bit of competition for the students. So during this unit, I utilized a slideshow presentation to show the visuals and provide the instruction on the key terms that we were reviewing for the unit. And then once the key terms had been reviewed, then students competed using Kahoot. So Kahoot is an online game platform, essentially. As a teacher, you can go in and create your own Kahoots. Students are able to choose answers to questions using devices that they have at their location. We use the one-to-one Chromebooks that we have. If your school isn't too averse to mobile technology being used in the classroom, sometimes students can also use their phone or other mobile sort of device. So if you have iPads, those sort of things available technology-wise in your classroom, it'd be a device that students could use as their personal input device for answering the questions that are in the Kahoot. So it adds what I found in this instance is that it helped students stay engaged with the key terms and give them a little bit of motivation to pay attention and be excited about what it is that they were, what we were reviewing for the unit. And then the last technology tool that I wanted to talk about in terms of usage for my unit on investment is a site called How the Market Works. So this specifically might work for teachers either teaching personal finance or business. But How the Market Works is a free stock market game web application. And what I did for my class is set up a contest that lasts for the remainder of the semester. Gave students the assignment to use this How the Market Works platform to get current market quotes for investments that they would choose to invest. I gave them a mock $100,000 to invest in the market. And they use How the Market Works to be able to shop for investments that they wanted to choose. Of course, this is after taking time to review important elements that you want to pay attention to in selecting an investment, like past performance and understanding the market segment that they're connected with, things of that nature. So How the Market Works is great because it provides great detailed information on the investments that are available for students to select. Like I said before, it's free for teachers and students. And as a teacher, when I log in, I can set up a contest free of charge for students to be able to connect with. So students made their investment selections, and How the Market Works keeps track of how those market selections are performing, and lets me know how students have done weekly over the last month, and provides current rankings. So this is kind of a fun thing that we have ended up moving forward with on a weekly basis, where we'll check in on the status of How the Market Works, and students get a chance to see how their investments have performed, and just validate the selections that they made, and the way they applied the knowledge that they were learning in the unit. So in the end, my conclusion on the investment unit, the results, I found that with Zoom and GoGuardian, we were able to connect as well as can be expected with remote students. We're able to use GoGuardian to manage student computer use and make sure they were staying on task, both remotely and inside the classroom. In fact, GoGuardian helped me to resolve a Zoom connection issue at one point. Also, using Kahoot to supplement the instruction done for our key terms, I believe that really helped to help the comprehension level of students for the key terms for the investment unit. I think being able to utilize them in a competition, it just provides that little extra element that will help them retain that information. And then finally, being able to use a project like How the Market Works to allow students to apply what they've learned in the investment unit to actually making some selections of investments and giving them an opportunity to see how those investments perform and the kind of results they might expect in the real world is nice. So in the end, I feel like it was a good success, and I'm excited to continue to use some of these technology items moving forward. Thanks.